All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the AL Central Rundown. I am Sam, and today I am joined by just one other member of the team.
Yep, I'm Lee.
And today it looks like it's just going to be two of us. We have Eric absent for the first time, which is a little bit scary, I think.
Yeah, I feel very unsupervised. Like teacher just walked out, and now we're just left to our own devices for
Yep.
indefinite
The
periods of time.
teacher has to step out of the room, and one kid goes, "Woohoo! Party! No teacher."
Exactly.
Um, but Eric is doing well. We have recently added a brand new 8-pound, 1-ounce Twins fan into our world. Her name is Elizabeth Victoria. And so Eric is very busy with those related matters. So I would just say big congratulations to Eric, and hope everything is going well with you and your family.
Yeah. See, I was gonna make a joke that the Twins trade deadline had it ended, and Eric just got traded to the NL East rundown.
Oh,
But yeah,
yes, that would be interesting. But I think Eric will be maybe hopping on at some point in the near future. We can hope so. And then Dan is having some trouble, some technical issues, so he might be hopping on in a little bit as well. But for the time being, I think probably going to have a little bit uh, more of a stripped back episode, not quite as not quite as
structured.
full of not quite as full of content or structured as we might think our podcast is, but I guess that's for the listener to decide. Um, so we will just start out with some general feelings on the last week. Lee, how are you feeling about your Tigers?
I don't know. So they're back to winning, kind of, and they're winning right now. They're up 9-3 against the Angels, and they look like they'll win this series. But they lost the series against the Phillies, which is fine. The Phillies are a very good team, and it was a lot of close games. And then we come home and we do horribly against a bad Twins team that just lost half their roster. And then the past couple games against the Angels have been, I don't know. Today it's looking good, but we almost lost the first game against the Angels, except Matt Vierling had a pitch hit 3-run home run that won the game. And then yesterday we just our pitching sucked. And today we're scoring lots of ones, but it's like they're not consistent right now, I guess would be my main thing, right? They're not every day it seems like something different. It's okay, today the offense is doing very well, but the pitching can't figure itself out, or the pitching did really well, but the offense can't get past second base. So,
Yeah,
and
and
a
you
month
say
ago, the
you
Guardians
say
were
they're
50,
not being consistent. They're 5-5 in their last 10. That is the
which is
opposite of consistency.
no, I mean you're right. Like they're consistent in terms of their winning, but they're not consistent in terms of their play, right?
Hmm.
That's that's kind of where I land. It's not like they're winning the same way or they're losing the same way. It's just like something different is happening all the time. I think we'll talk about it because we'll do like the recap for the Twin series, but it's just been messy, I'd say. And a month ago, we were 15 games up on the Guardians, and now the Guardians are 5 games back of us. So it's
Hmm.
looking rough in terms. I'm not
Yeah,
worried about them missing the playoffs, but I don't know how good I feel about this team.
and we were discussing before we hit record about the Guardians, and they are 9-1 in their last 10. And it feels like they do this every year, where they will, whether they're in it, whether they're out of it, no matter how much of you know, how they played previously in the season. It always feels like they go on a little bit of a run at the end of the season.
Yeah, dude, if we lose this division to a team that sold and had two of their players actively betting against themselves, I don't know if you'll ever hear from me again because dude, I
I
don't know what the Guardians are. I don't know what team they are. I don't know if they're this good team that's winning a lot, but they're also doing it against bad teams. So I don't know how much to trust that.
Yeah, and I think that they probably may, water is going to find its level. And I think that they are probably going to not, obviously, not be on a 9-1 pace for the rest of the year, but they're right there to make the playoffs, and they have done a very good job of getting themselves within, you know, spitting distance of winning the division.
Yeah. So I mean, gotta give them credit for that. It's just very frustrating. Why can't they just die already?
Hmm.
But yeah, how are the Royals doing?
I feel eh about the way things are going for the Royals. The last week has been not terrible for them. I think that they have what I would call what the Royals are doing right now is treading water. And they were able to win a series against the Blue Jays, which was fantastic, right? The Blue Jays at the time, I think, had the best record in the American League. So they're able to win that series against a good team. They lose a series against Boston, which they already lost the series earlier that they played against Boston, which maybe you just don't match up well against the Red Sox, but also the Red Sox are in the playoff hunt. They're a good team. And now they went 1-1 in the first two games against the Twins, and they're now in the top of the 11th, having to try to, you know, scrap out a win against the Twins, which again, I think the Twins have not. I don't know what's going on with the Twins because
I don't know what
it
team they
seems
are.
like management has raised the white flag, but I don't think they told the players yet that they've given up on the season.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking of? So today is the 1 year, I call it an anniversary just because I'm a loser like that. Today, a 1 year ago today, the Tigers had a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs. And they made the
Mhm.
playoffs because they sold at the deadline, they got younger, and they got better. And looking at the Twins right now, I'm wondering if it's something similar. They got a bunch of young guys who want to prove themselves. All right, I'm not saying that the players they traded away weren't like playing their best or whatever. I mean, I don't know enough about them, but I feel like they got a bunch of players who are like this is their first time playing every day type of thing,
Mhm.
you know. So like they're
And
scoring a lot of runs.
that used to be like an annual problem with the Royals back when I was younger, where back when September call ups were a thing, they would call up all of these young players from the minors in the month of September. And then these Royals teams who would end up losing, 90 plus games would randomly have a winning month in September because they brought up all these scrappy young players who were getting their first opportunity and everyone else in the league had kind of given up on the season. So I think that it's obviously anything's possible. We saw that last season with the Detroit Tigers, but the Twins, they're not. They haven't given up yet. They are 6.5 games back in the wild card. They're 4-6 in their last 10, but they are still playing respectable baseball.
Yeah. All right. Rafael Montero just gave up a 2 run homer. So Tigers are only up by 4 now instead of, yeah.
Yes.
I
Well,
hate
the
him for that.
Royals are currently tied 3-3 in the top of the 11th. Michael Garcia just worked a walk. So it's first and second with one out in the top of the 11th, and Vinny is at the plate.
All right. Yeah, I mean the Twins have better odds than the Tigers did last year. So I mean it's not impossible. I think we're going to be saying that for a while now. It'd be like, oh well, they have better odds than the 2024 Tigers did this time. You know.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair point. I mean, 1% is not a great chance, but I think for the Royals and for the Guardians, 9% chance and 4% chance. If you roll a dice, if you roll a 20-sided die, you'll roll a nat 20 eventually. So
Yeah.
there's nothing saying it can't happen.
Yeah. It's definitely very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
Do you have any Royals news you want to go over?
Royals news. There hasn't been a ton of news with the Royals recently. They had Michael Lorenzen on a rehab start at Double A Northwest Arkansas, and he has been out for a little while now. I don't know exactly how well that rehab start went. Okay, he threw 66 pitches for Northwest Arkansas. So he was, a decent little piece that the Royals have had throughout this year. He's been good for a decent start here and there. His stats aren't gonna blow your socks off, but this season he's started 18 games. He's gone 5-8, and he's had a 4.61 ERA. And he's been the fifth starter for most of the season. So for a fifth starter, that's a pretty good, those are pretty good stats. You'll take that. So hopefully he can come back. And, Berger, who the Royals acquired at the trade deadline, he's had two good starts. Falter has kind of been iffy in his, well, he was bad in his first start. But, everyone always needs more pitchers. So hopefully he'll be able to get back. And then the Royals have made some other little small moves, which aren't really totally worth going over. But I think that they will hopefully, hopefully get some of these guys back.
Yeah, I feel like it's very slow news because it's just all going to be injury stuff because there's not going to be that many call ups at this time of year. There's not going to be that many DFAs are sent down this time of year. So, I mean, in terms of the Tigers,
at this point, especially after the trade deadline, at this point, the team you have is pretty much the team you have.
Yeah, there's not going to be much changes to it outside of injuries and stuff. Which, because speaking of injuries, Matt Vierling is back on the IL with a quad strain. So he had his moment of glory, and then we're like, all right, this is the turning point for him. Lots of momentum, and then he's injured now. So it just sucks. I mean, he hasn't been very good, and that was his first home run of the season. But it's just compounding on we didn't add anything at the trade deadline, so we don't have any. Because we called up Trey Sweeney, and he's fine, but he's not that good, right? He hasn't been that good this season. So
yeah, Vierling has a negative .3 WAR in 31 games for the Tigers this year.
He's also played he's played 31 games. So it's really hard to judge what kind of player he is, because I think it's just missing spring training and missing 2 months of the season. Really, it was really close to 3 months. Really messed him up. But I mean, in terms of roster changes, it's very confusing because we have Justin Henry Malloy, who is an outfielder. I mean, he's not very good in the outfield, but whatever. But he's hitting better than Trey Sweeney is, and I'm not sure why we brought up Sweeney instead of Jahen. Because I guess Sweeney can play short, and then we can move Javi to center. But
all-star outfielder Javier Baez.
Exactly. So there's that. Yeah, it's just more of the question mark of Scott. What are you doing? And then I do want to talk a little bit about this, because Evan Petzel has been very unhappy with Scott Harris's trade deadline decisions, right? Oh, I did. I don't know what I did. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
But yeah. But okay, so a few weeks ago, we signed this guy, Luke Jackson, who's not very good, but we needed a relief pitcher, right? And he was not very good. At the trade deadline, we added Rafael Montero, who was also not very good. And in order to make room for Montero, we sent down Brennan Hanafy, who was one of our only good relievers in the month of July, right? I mean, I'm not a huge Hanafy fan because he gives up way too many hits, in my opinion, and he gives up too many walks. But he's a ground ball guy, so he gets lots of sweet contact, and he's been good this year. But we sent him down to AAA because we don't have that many guys that have options that we can send down without having to do the whole DFA, hoping they clear waivers, etc., etc. But we DFA'd Luke Jackson less than a week after the trade deadline, and now we can't bring up Brennan Hanafy because you can't bring up guys from AAA after sending them down and for like 3 weeks or something. So we can't bring them up for another week. And so we had to bring up one of our other random trade pieces we picked up. So it's just another.
Now, is Luke Jackson, is he a baseball player or is he a country singer?
He is a baseball player. He's not a very good one because we just DFA'd him. And again, I don't know why we couldn't DFA him a week ago. But
well, with a name like Luke Jackson, he could certainly consider a little career change because that just screams country singer there.
It does scream country singer. There's a country singer named Riley Green, but it's spelled Green instead of Greene. Like Riley Green was a baseball player. Apparently they get mixed up for each other all the time. There was when we were in Baltimore, actually, Riley Green, the country singer, was also in Baltimore for he was doing a concert or whatever, and he had come to Camden Yards to take batting practice or whatever. So Riley Green, the baseball player, was watching Riley Green, the country player, hit baseballs. It was like a fun little bit at the time.
Yeah, and apparently there's also a famous musician named Carlos Santana.
That's a new one. Hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, it's a little interesting fun fact I heard the other day.
Yeah, that is. All right, Glaber just popped out. It looks. Oh, ooh! Two Angels outfielders just collided in the outfield. They caught.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah, they caught it. But no, dude. Yesterday, I think it was, or maybe it was 2 days ago. But one of the Angels outfielders ran face first into the outfield wall. He had to be pulled. It was not good.
So there weren't quite as many Angels in the outfield after that happened.
Ayo. Yeah.
One thing I did actually want to talk about was Freddie Fermin, who obviously got traded over to the Padres during the trade deadline. He has been on a tear in his first 6 games with the Padres. He has 18 at-bats for the Padres, 7 hits, a double, 3 RBI, and has an OPS of 850 in his first 6 games with the San Diego Padres. And Padres Reddit is already just beside themselves with how much they love Freddie Fermin, which, of course, we all knew was going to happen. But yeah, it is good, always good to see an old friend doing well in a new place. So
I saw a beautiful cultural exchange, and it popped up on my Reddit feed. A Giants fan came over to the Royals subreddit and shared their Mike Yastrzemski memes, and then Royals fans shared the Freddie Fermin meme.
Yes, that Mike Yastrzemski meme is a good one for sure. So I'm glad that is in the pocket as Royals fans.
I think that's what
things are pretty.
Yeah, I do find it very funny when players change teams, but then the memes follow them between teams.
Oh hell yeah! The Royals got to play on a fly ball.
Nice.
Go ahead, talk about
what inning is it?
It is the top of the 11th. No, sorry, the bottom of the 11th. The bottom of the 11th.
All right. Yeah, because when Stafford was traded to the Rams, so the Lions had this meme of Stafford's because he has a weird looking face, but it basically has a meme for him of, that's a nice lead you have. It would be shame if someone would make a comeback, because the Lions always made fourth quarter comebacks, but they wouldn't actually win. They just looked like they could win. But then that meme got transferred over to the Rams, and then it's just continued on with a whole new life of its own. It's very funny.
Yeah, I
Good
don't
times.
know.
I enjoy. You are frozen.
Royals over the years, but I think those are exchange with other fan bases when something like that happens. So
Yeah, for some reason I find that I don't know what the word is, unfairly interesting. Probably the
well, the thing is, as fans, we're just rooting for guys playing a kids game. So
yeah.
it's good to have some good non-toxic fan behavior every once in a while.
Yeah. What are the Angels outfielders doing? They just collided again. Like, they still caught the fly ball, but this was a soft collision.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know the Angels outfield very well, so I don't know who they are. But what are you guys doing, man?
Okay. Well, Keishel just hit a walk-off home run.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's that. So anyway, what are your thoughts?
Dan's internet is back.
Oh, Dan's internet is back.
Yeah, so he could be joining us soon here.
Oh, very good, very good. Well,
right.
While we wait for Dan to come back, how's your day going today, Lee?
Yeah, it's all right. I woke up an hour and a half ago because, my sleep schedule's all very messed up.
Yeah, well, you're in college, so that's understandable. Shall we dive into some recaps?
Yes, let's do that. Let's do the only complete one that we have right now. Well, the first complete one, the one that didn't just finish 2 minutes ago. So I made a joke that when we went over the schedules last week, I was like, "Oh, I see 12 straight wins," which was like obviously a joke because we were playing the Twins, the Angels, the White Sox, and then the Twins again. But so far, well, we lost the series against the Twins, which is not good. Overall, the Tigers did not play well this series. The first game was all right. Mize looked good. He gave up 3 solo home runs. I mean, he has some very funny reactions to these home runs. First off, because they were like no doubters, all of them. Like Matt Wallner and Jenner Lormack both went over 430 feet on that. But I mean, Tigers' offense looked good against. I forget who was pitching. I think it was Jeffers. No, I don't know why I said Jeffers there. Whatever. But yeah, I didn't prepare for this at all. In case you can't tell. Anyway,
you got
Tigers.
This.
I got this. I know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, so I mean, Tigers' offense looked fine. Tigers' pitching looked good. I mean, our bullpen didn't give up any runs, which was like a miracle all on its own, honestly. But yeah, so I mean, it looked like a good game. It looked like you could like pull it off, win this series or even get a sweep. And then the second game, I overestimated how good Chris Paddock would look against his old team because he went. Let me pull it up right here. His final stat line.
And it looks like pretty immediately he started giving up runs in that game because you can see that the win probability shoot straight up for the Twins.
Yeah, I was driving to work right when the game first started, and he gave up 3 runs in the first inning. Yeah, there you get his. Yeah, so his final line was 4 innings, 4 runs, and with 2 home runs, 0 strikeouts, 0 walks. It wasn't good. It was bad.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
Hello,
Dan.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
How's it going?
I have quite a habit of showing up midway through one of our lovely presentations, so I apologize. My internet is on for now. Please continue without me if it goes back off, but I appreciate everybody's patience, and I'm happy to sit and listen a little bit about the Twins and Tigers if you guys
Yeah,
want to.
we'll have Lee finish up this recap, and then we'll have some thoughts on the Guardians from Dan.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. So Paddock didn't have a good day for game 2. And okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the pitching choices that went on, right? Okay, so he went 4 innings, 4 runs. That's not good, right? But consider how bad our bullpen is. He only had 57 pitches after 4 innings and 4 runs. But we pulled him after 4 innings and put in Rafael Montero for his Tigers debut. I mean, we were down by 4 runs. We were down by, let's see, at that point we were down by 3 runs because we had scored 1. I don't understand the decision to pull Paddock at that point and put in a reliever who, first of all, sucks, and second of all, has not pitched for this team yet. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
It's tough when you acquire someone and then immediately put them in a high leverage situation and it doesn't work out.
I mean, it wasn't even high leverage. We were down by 3, and then he gave up 2 more runs.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, but there were some interesting stats about pitchers in their first appearance with their new team. They were all pretty bad. Bailey Falter with the Royals being one of them.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't seen that.
It makes you wonder if that kind of thing is legitimately a coincidence. There is some, learning an entire new organization, and that matters. Like who your catcher is, them calling pitches for you, that kind of thing, or I don't know. I've never been in a major league clubhouse. I don't know how much they start trying to make adjustments to your mechanics or pitch mix or what have you right away. But there is the
And
opportunity there for
there is a
things to be
psychological
bumpy.
element to just being in a new place,
Absolutely. I know, and I talked about this starting this year with Luis Ortiz, who may be a moot point at this point, but I had a feeling he was going to have kind of a rough spring, early part of the season, and then maybe round out as time went on. And we never kind of got to see that come to fruition, unfortunately. But it looked like maybe that was going to be the case up until his potential demise.
I mean, you look at who the Yankees acquired, and they all stunk. I mean, Bednar finally got his first save as a Yankee, but he also walked in a run on that outing. But, I mean, there was a stat because both Bird and Bednar made their Yankees debuts, and they had, a 29 ERA or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think there's something to that. I don't know how much of something there is to that.
I'd be curious to go
ahead.
back and look at last year or the year before and see if that really is a thing or not. It could be one of those things too, where maybe it was 2 years ago when they first instituted the 3-game series and all of the lower seeded teams won. And everybody went,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, this is making it way too easy for the lower seeded teams to win. And then we didn't have an issue last year. So I don't know. It could be, it could not be. How's that for a cop-out answer?
Yeah. I guess I just don't understand the decision to take Paddock out and put Montero in the 5th inning. Because he didn't, it's not like his pitch count was in the 90s or anything. I mean, again, I didn't look for his post-game comment, so maybe there's something in there and I just sound like a moron because I didn't check any of that. But
was it the 3rd time through the lineup?
It probably was. That's probably it. Honestly, yeah. It just seems like a really weird decision to me. I was at work during this game, so I couldn't physically watch it. And apparently Montero was, I mean, he gave up 2 runs, but also apparently Veerling was horrible in the outfield defense and single-handedly allowed 4 runs basically in terms of just having bad. Because he was playing center, but he was having bad routes and stuff like that. So, I don't know how much of blame is put on Montero and how much is put on Veerling for not being able to field balls cleanly. I don't know. So that was game 2. It wasn't great. And then, the Twins' expected batting average that game is .315.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but Troy Melton looked really good out of the bullpen, which is I'm a big Troy Melton fan, I guess.
Which
So
that expected batting average wasn't even the highest expected batting average of the series.
no, because then you look at Game 3, and the Tigers had an expected batting average of 325. Did they win that game? No, because of course not. That was I slept through this game because it was at 1 p.m. and I slept until like 3. And you know what? Maybe that was a good decision, so I didn't have to watch Flaherty give up 6 runs in 3 innings, whatever the hell it was. I am very frustrated with this team right now. They did manage to get the
Oh, I
win
couldn't
today.
tell.
Yeah, but and then Game 3 against the Twins, Flaherty, I thought he was back because his last few outings have looked really good. And then let's see his final line. 4.2 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. So, yeah, I guess Luke Keeschel hit 2 doubles, and yeah, Brooks Lee had a home run. I mean, everyone is hitting home runs off this pitching staff for some reason. All of a sudden, Kerry Carpenter almost had a really cool moment because he hit another home run, but I mean, the Tigers didn't score off of after that anyway. Because you can see that little dip of where the win probability is in the Tigers' favor, and then it immediately goes away because our pitching sucks. So, yeah, I mean, but Kerry Carpenter has looked really good since he came back. I think he's hitting with like 325 with like 6 home runs now. He just had another home run today, and he had another home run a couple days ago. So I was talking with Sam earlier that you missed, Dan, but I said this Tigers team has not been consistent because it seems like they seem to win and lose in different ways all the time. Like the first game they win and they had their bullpen held up and it looked good, and Myers gave up a few home runs, but like it was like 3 mistake pitches, and their offense took advantage of opportunities. And then game 2, everything was just a disaster because they couldn't score when they got runners in position. The bullpen just gave up. I mean, the pitching was awful and the defense was awful. And then game 3, the pitching was bad and the offense could get on base, but they couldn't score those runners. So, yeah, it's been very frustrating lately because they don't play like the same team every day. I don't know if that makes sense.
I
No,
think
it does.
part of it is it's difficult to have 25 guys who are all playing well at the same time. And I think for a lot of this season, the Tigers have had, 20, 21, 22 guys who are all playing well at the same time. And that is what got them out to such a big lead. I question if it's just, regression or if it's just a question of maybe they're running out of steam as the year goes on. But I still think the Tigers are a very good team. And I won't be surprised if they go on a run where they win 8 out of 10 or 8 in a row or something of that nature. I think it's just a question of it's getting to be the dog days, and a lot of these teams who were very consistent throughout the first part of the year are starting to cool off.
Let me just add to that because it reminds me in a way of last year. And I'm not going to get all the minute details of this correct, but I do recall with the Guardians last year, and really with the teams that were at the top of the AL at large last year, the Guardians got off to a hot start. I believe it was the Yankees in the East got off to a hot start. There were like 2, 3 teams that were the toast of the AL early on. And we got to about this time of year, and then all those teams all at the same time started to sputter. Not like lose 11 in a row or lose 11 out of 13 or anything, but like played 500, played just under 500 for a substantial period of time. And I just think to Sam's point, not only is it hard to have that many guys all playing well at the same time, it's just really hard to play at a certain clip for 162 games. I tend to agree. I think Detroit is still, if not the best, among the best teams in the American League. But I think it's just natural that they're not necessarily going to play 700 ball for 6 months. Um, and I think that's what we're witnessing. Because I will say, it's not like any other team has really run off with the American League. Like I think Toronto has the best record in the AL right now,
Yeah,
but
by like
it's
a
not by
game. I think it. I
it's
think they
huge
might have.
margin.
I think it might be tied with the Tigers right now,
They
depending
they
on.
had their rough 2 months. And when I say rough, I mean playing 500. Had it early. You guys are having it now. Like I just think that's the nature of 162 games in 2025.
Yeah, I think that's. I think
Yeah,
that's very fair. And like what you said about, I mean, last year, that's right. I kind of forgotten about that. But a lot of the good teams started slowing down at the same time. I mean, that's why the Tigers were able to make the playoffs at the end of the day because they were doing well. The Twins sucked. The Royals were doing fine, but they weren't doing well. And we played the Royals and beat them. The Orioles started falling apart, and we played them and we beat them. So
Baltimore was the other team. That's the one I wasn't thinking of. Yeah.
yeah, like so we got hot at the right time and we played the right teams at the right time. So we got super lucky in that aspect. I guess I just don't know how good this team is, right? Are they I don't know if they're a great team or just a good team, if that makes sense. Because like what
well,
they're playing at right now is what I had expected them to be going into this season, where they're above 500, but not necessarily World Series favorites. That's kind of what they're playing at right now, and I that's what I was expecting them to be. So I don't know if that's what this team is, but they also were playing like the best team in baseball for 5 months. So I don't know.
I can tell you that despite all of this talk, the Tigers still have the biggest division lead in baseball.
Yeah,
And they're a half game back of the Blue Jays for the best record in the American League.
yeah, that's
My
that's also the thing. Like they're not playing their best, but they're somehow with the best record. So I don't know.
my answer to that would be Lee, think about the best stretch they've had this year when you thought they were playing at their best. They're not that good.
Yeah,
But think about when they lost 11 out of 13. They're
they're
not
not
that
that
bad yet.
bad.
They're somewhere in the middle. And by the way, the same could be said about the Dodgers. The same could be said about the Phillies or the Blue Jays. That's not just a Tigers thing. That's an everybody thing.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah. See, you guys gotta. I just for perspective. I mean, the Tigers have not played this well since I was in elementary school. So it's been a while for me as like a fan to be a fan of a good baseball team.
And I guess my point in saying that is, even if you feel a little underwhelmed with that answer, everybody else is a little underwhelmed with their answer too. So
Yeah, every
you're right in
good
the thick of it.
team, every fan base of every good team is convinced that their team actually secretly sucks. Except for the Brewers, because the Brewers are just amazing now.
Yep. They're not this good either, by the way. They're good. I don't mean to denigrate anybody. It's just really hard to play this game really, really well for a really long time.
Yeah, and I mean, the Tigers were the first team in the American League to 10 and 20 wins. They were the first team in baseball to 30, 40, 50, and 60 wins. It's unlikely they're going to continue being the first team to 70, 80, 90, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I think it's a good point. They are a good team. It's just now they're going to the stretch where they don't play as well as they were. But they're yeah.
Well,
Uh,
that recap turned into a little bit more Tigers talk, I guess.
well,
Are
Eric
you
isn't
are you
here to
satisfied?
counter that with talking about the Twins, and I don't know enough about the Twins roster to be able to say anything about their performances.
That's okay. If Eric wanted Twins talk, he would have showed up. Um,
If you had to give a 15-second, do you have any? I mean, they've pulled that team apart. Do you have any take on them at all? If not, I'm sorry I'm putting you on the spot.
No,
But
yeah. I think they have good pieces there. I think me and Sam kind of talked about it a bit in terms of like they're a young, hungry team with like guys to prove. I mean, Keishel looks really good. I'll say. I think he's going to be one of those guys who like is a star. I think he's going to turn into that guy. I don't know. Zebby Matthews looked really good, but I also don't know if the Tigers' offense just sucked against him. So, I mean, that's also a game I couldn't physically watch with my eyes because I was at work. So, my main takeaway is that Luke Keeschel's going to be really good. I think I would say.
Yeah, and
Yeah, and
we made the point earlier that the organization has maybe raised the white flag on this season, but they haven't told the players.
The players haven't. Yeah. Yeah, that was my having the Guardians have played them last week. That was kind of my reaction too was this isn't horrible. Like they're not playing like the White Sox last year. Like they're just the phrase that I've used a couple times now, they're just regular bad. They're just a regular kind of not that great team, but they're not dog water by any means.
yeah, I think we overestimated how bad they were going to be.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think so too.
they're not a good team, but like they have good players who can score. I guess
Yeah,
is
they're going to be competitive. They're going to lose. They're going to be lose more games than they'll win, but they're not going to lose 10-3 every night. They're going to lose 5-4, 6-2. They're going to win a couple. Like they're all right. They're fine.
yeah. Do you want to talk some Guardians a bit? Let me pull up
Which
the
thought you'd
standings
never ask.
again. Oh, and that's the wrong. Oh, there we go.
Shall I
I'm
just speak in generalities on how things have been going lately?
Yeah, general thoughts and then some news if you want to hit any news.
Absolutely. So general thoughts, I kind of came prepared for. The division lead, at least at last check. I don't know if the Tigers have won today. I know the Guardians were losing when I logged on.
the
At the
Tigers have won
time,
today.
okay. At last indication, the division lead was 5. Let's not forget it was 15 at one point. And I say that more as a positive for what is going on in Cleveland than it is to denigrate Lee and her Tigers. Because the Guardians have won 8 of their last 9. And now you're going to say, well, Dan, you've talked at nauseum about how the Guardians have the easiest schedule the rest of the way. Well, that includes a sweep of the Mets, who some would
Forgot
say
about
are
that.
the best team money could buy.
Hmm.
Didn't look very good this week at Citi Field, in my opinion. But
They're also not
anyway,
playing very well. They haven't been playing well for like a month and a half.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment. But all the same,
Point is,
good
they still
baseball
swept them.
team. They lost 3 in a row to the Guards at home. And I took, I looked just a cursory look at some of the stats over this now 9 game span. Um, I did this yesterday, so it didn't include some of yesterday's stuff. But during that time, the offense has been significantly better. It couldn't have been much worse than a few weeks ago when I was listing off all the things they were dead last in when they had that 12-game losing streak, but or 10-game losing streak. But 5.6 runs per game, that's, you know, 5 or 6 a game is awesome in this league. Eighth in on base percentage. But what really, it's not just the offense. The bullpen, ironically, with Clase gone, has become the bullpen that it was last year again. Over this 9 games, and I completely acknowledge that is a tiny sample size, but over these 9 games, they are first and fifth, 284. I'm sorry, that was for the entire staff. For the bullpen, it's 151.
Wow.
Wow.
Cade Smith has been placed in informally, I'd say, in the closer's role. He hasn't closed out every game. Vogt's done a nice job of like, I'm going to use these guys tonight because we have the lead. Smith, Gaddis, maybe Sabrowski, some of the guys he thinks better of. They'll all go out. They'll throw 20 pitches about, get as many outs as they can, and then the next night, if you use that guy 2 nights in a row, we're not going to go to him. We'll go to somebody else, even if it means going to Festa or Allard or somebody of that effect. And he's kind of linked it together that way where the roles have changed. They acknowledge that, the guy at the back end is completely gone and they need to be flexible. And it's worked really well. Cade's thrown 6 1/3 scoreless. I think that's now 7 1/3 because he pitched a 1-2-3 ninth last night. Hunter Gaddis's FIP over this 9 game span is negative.
How
I don't
is
know
that
how you can even,
mathematically possible?
yeah. So he's disallowed enough home runs and walks while striking out enough people that somehow the math says he's allowed negative runs. I don't know exactly how that works. is really good. That's what I know. So, they've done well to really move on from what really could have pulled the plug on the season with losing, as I said a bunch of times, their fifth best player by WAR, ninth inning guy, taking him completely out of the closer's role. They've responded. I said it when we were last on that it seemed like the team was turning the page. They did um, the pomp and circumstance of Ortiz and Clase's lockers were cleared out. That seems to be a real thing, at least so far. Um, Other things about that Mets series, just real quick. Gavin Williams threw a no hitter into the ninth on Wednesday. Uh, Unfortunately, that was broken up by a Juan Soto home run, but he did get into the ninth with a no hitter. The Guardians have not, dating back to the Indians, have not had a no hitter since 1981. For
Really?
all the great pitching that this has come through this organization, Len Barker in 1981 threw a perfect game. That is the last
Mm,
time they've had a no hitter, and they got within
wow.
2 outs of it just a couple of days ago. So, in
And
that, there's always a. Go ahead, Lee. Sorry.
I always find it really weird when teams are like go like 40, 50 years without things like throwing a no hitter because like that feels like something that it would happen like once a decade,
You would
15
think.
years,
I
20
think
years.
it's been pretty long since the Royals have had a no hitter as well.
The
It's
Tigers
been
had
since 19. Royals haven't had one since '91.
oh no, I guess
So,
maybe the Tigers are just spoiled because we had Spencer Turnbull in 21, and then I mean just Verlander threw like 3 with the Tigers or whatever.
so Sabathia, Cliff Lee, Kluber twice, Bieber. That's 5 Cy Young awards in the last 18 years. No hitters from anybody. And that's without mentioning other guys like Carrasco and Bauer and
And
other,
not to mention
kind
the
of top
fact that
level.
every once in a while, some rando can just run into a no
Oh yeah,
hitter.
Yeah,
it
like
happens.
Turnbull. Turnbull is not a good pitcher by any means, I would say. But he threw no hitter in 2021. I mean, I personally think he was probably using sticky stuff, but he still threw a no hitter. And I stayed
But
up until 1 in the morning to watch that because it was against Seattle in Seattle,
nice.
and yeah, it was yeah, it was
Anyway,
that was a day anyway.
it was a heck of an outing by Gavin Williams. He struggled early on, even with some walks. I think he had 3 walks in the first 2 innings, but really obviously settled in. We got the like always if you get a no hitter or close, there's like one great play that kind of keeps it going. CJ Kayfus made a play in right field, diving stop, caught a ball, fly ball, diving catch, had the whole thing. They let him go. He was at like 126 pitches when he gave up the home run, and then faced a couple more. I think he faced one more hitter because they had to get somebody going in the pen. But fantastic effort. He's been spectacular since the start of July. I'm a little concerned about the underlying peripheral metrics, but 223 ERA and 44 in the third inning since the start of July. 317 ERA for the season. This is somebody I talked about this coming into this year. Really could take a step forward and be a top flight starting pitcher for this team along with Bybee. He's significantly outperformed Bybee so far this year, but he needs to walk fewer guys to get this more sustainable. He has the third highest walk rate among starters this year. That seems to be the thing. Lots of deep counts. The TV broadcast has mentioned it a bunch of times. I think he leads the league in pitches per inning, which is a really interesting stat to be in the league lead for. But he's a young guy still. There's some refinement that needs to be done, but he could really, be something down the line for the team. And he's obviously the results have been really good lately.
Nice.
Um, One other kind of newsy item I wanted to mention that's unrelated to the Mets series, although I think it occurred during the Mets series, was Jose Ramirez moved into third all time in Guardians games played, which in and of itself is incredibly impressive. But the guys in front of him now all date back to at least 1949. So since 1950, he has played more games than any other Cleveland Guardian. Some others on that list after him since 50 are Omar Vizquel, Carlos Santana, who's on the team right now, Jim Thome, Kenny Lofton. But it's just incredibly impressive. Again, we could say this with Byron Buxton too if Eric was here, but those two guys in particular are really committed to their teams, and I can't be appreciative enough for it. It just he's a great ball player. So
I didn't
Where
realize it
does
was that far up in terms of like
yeah,
ranks of most players,
well,
most games.
part
But
of that is guys don't tend to stay with small market teams very long anymore. Um,
yeah,
and part of it is that he's been there since what 2014. He came up in 2014, and the first year or two he wasn't Jose Ramirez yet. That really started in 16. So we're looking at a decade of kind of him being in the lineup every day at this point.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, because like the Tigers have a bunch of players who play there a lot. Like I mean, Ty Cobb had 21 years, and that was 1900s type thing. Al Kaline was another like 20 years.
Hmm.
Yeah, like and like because like I said, like oh Miggy didn't have as much time on the Tigers because like I mean he was still there 15 years at the end of the day. But, yeah,
What it
that's
really is,
good.
it's you
it
got to be
looks
a
like
Hall of Fame level player to play that long in the first place, and then you got to stay in one place for that long of a time too. So it's really twofold, and it was easier to do back when with the reserve clause or even early on in free agency, but you just don't see it as much anymore.
and it is worth mentioning that Ramirez is fourth. This is from the beginning of the season, but he is fourth in active players number of games with one team.
Nice. That is good
And
context.
yep, one is Altuve, two is Salvi, three is Mike Trout, and then fourth is Ramirez.
Where does Buxton land on that list? I mean, I guess he's been out a lot season.
I would say I don't know, but I would guess Buxton probably doesn't even have 1,000 career games yet, just because he's been out so much.
I bet
Yeah,
I bet if you measured it by like time vested in the union, like with that team, he would be
Yeah,
significantly higher, but actual games played on the field.
yeah. Buxton's only at 857 of
mm,
actual games played in his
Do
career
you
so
still have
far.
that up? I'm just curious who's fifth.
So fifth was Judge and
Okay.
Ian Happ, both of
Interesting.
whom hit 1,000 games with their respective teams this year.
I don't think I would have picked Ian Happ to be on that list. Not gonna lie.
Well,
Uh,
he's been around for quite a while, and
he
he's been
has
with the
been.
Cubs his whole career. So he's kind of the outlier of someone who you wouldn't think of being, you know, not like
He
a
doesn't
great player.
Yeah, he doesn't meet that criteria I just laid out a minute ago. And I don't know if all those guys are necessarily Hall of Famers. I think you can make a debate on each one of them. But all of them, at least you kind of squint your eyes and be like close at minimum. I think
Yeah,
Altuve maybe has some other stuff going on from 2017 that would keep him out, but you get the point. They all kind of meet
Right.
those two measures.
Like, looking at Ian Happ's baseball reference, he only has one. He only has not counting the COVID season. He only has one season where he played under 100 games out
yeah,
since
I
2017.
guess we kind of accidentally ran into it with Buxton, but the other element there is you got to be healthy in the first place.
Yeah.
You got to
hmm
be on the field.
hmm
And Jose doesn't really have a much of an injury history, right? I know he's been beat up this year, but he doesn't really have.
He he broke his hand in 20 I forget, was that 2018? I think it was 2018 and missed maybe 2 months. And that's been I'm knocking on wood. That's been the kind of the biggest time he's missed in the last decade.
Gotcha.
He's played through his stuff this year. I mean, he's been beat up. He missed the All-Star game because he wanted to recuperate, but he missed a game here, there with all of his ailments.
Yeah.
yeah,
I thought real quick. I thought of this like 2 minutes ago, but I thought it'd be fun to look at the Fangraphs playoff odds page and talk about that a little bit.
mm,
Just because if we look at 2024 August 10th, it's 0.2%. It was 0.2% for the Tigers there. There we go. Yeah. So and today is August 10th, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to look at the playoff odds as they stand right now in terms of
Ah,
for
okay, that's
everyone
cool.
else. Yeah.
yeah.
So Tigers are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, you too. Yep.
Yeah. But Cleveland has a good shot. I mean, they're half a game back of the wild card spot as of like yesterday. And Twins have better odds. Twins and Royals both have better odds than the Tigers did last year. So it's not impossible for either of those. Chicago's just a flat line. You could remove Chicago and the
Yeah.
graph does not change. If you remove,
Yeah.
yeah,
Poor Minnesota, man. They peaked in
dude,
June, and
May really,
is that May? Okay, it's late May.
yeah,
Yeah, that must have been when they got that hot streak.
yeah. That's when they won 13 games in a row, whatever the hell it was. Yeah, and then they
Well,
just fell hard.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily rooting for this, but if Cleveland ends up overtaking Detroit and winning the division this season, I can't wait to see that 30 for 30.
I I don't know. Yeah, let's see.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know that we'll get there.
well,
I
yeah,
do feel better
7.2%.
about us making the playoffs at this point, but I don't know that we'll overtake. I think we can make you sweat down the stretch a little more than you were anticipating, but I don't know that we'll
You,
get there.
yeah, you could make those last two series count. Is
Yeah, I
the
think that's a
thing that
really good way
matters.
to think about it.
Yeah, because we play you twice in September. It's, if I remember this correctly, Cleveland, Atlanta, Cleveland, Boston, the last four series. Yeah, let's see if I go wild card berth or if I, okay, I could just do just AL here. All there we go. So this gets a little busy here, but yeah, this is the. Let's get rid of the division leaders on here and just go do this. Make playoff odds. Or I could just do, oh, here we go. I could just do wild card berth. That's what I want. Yeah, these are the wild card. Yeah, the Yankees have a good shot to make the wild card. Boston. I don't know what's going on with any of these teams. I don't know what the AL East is doing. And then, yeah, so Cleveland, I mean, don't count them out, I guess is the main takeaway. Their chances aren't zero. They've got pretty
It's
Yeah,
funny
good.
and
you
I
say
mean,
that.
I think don't count out Cleveland is a lesson we've learned time and time again over the past decade.
How
Yeah.
many times do we got to keep teaching you this lesson, old man?
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly.
But,
I did
Yeah.
have I did want to talk about the White Sox series real quick for the guards.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, I
let's
got
dive back into those recaps.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. All right. I'm not very
So
efficient at switching between things.
take your
So,
time.
all right, and then let's go. All right, so I had this one up. We can do
Yep.
Guardians White Sox one first. I don't
All right,
have the
cool.
thing for this game three. How did I
Yeah,
have the game
that's
finished?
again at last check that was in progress. The White Sox were winning 6-4, and I think the seventh. But
Let me.
game one was a very handily win. They won handedly is what I'm trying to say. Uh, they shellacked Aaron Savali, former Guardian. 9 runs in 3 1/3 innings is what Savali's line was. So they just beat up on him early. He didn't look good, and I just think he was having a real bad night. And interestingly, the Guardians scored those 9 runs, no home runs, 5 doubles, but no homers. CJ Kafis, who I mentioned earlier, called up last week. He had 2 of those doubles. I think he had 3 RBI. Carlos Santana got the scoring going. Broke the seal early, got them up 2-0 with a 2-run double in the first. He had 4 RBI in total in that game. The only thing that troubled me about that game is it did get a little sloppy down the stretch. They were up 9-1 in I think the sixth or seventh inning, and they gave up 4 runs in garbage time. Brian Rocchio, who will make a fantastic play, but then also look like really stupid 3 innings later. He made a nice backhanded play on a ball at second, but tried to kind of jump throw and try to turn a force out into a double play and rushed himself and threw the ball into left field past Gabriel Arias at shortstop. So stuff like that, just I could have done without, but good handed win. I will say the bullpen for the White Sox was impressive in that they didn't allow anything further. And that was Vassell and Wickelman Gonzalez for Chicago, who were impressive down the end of the game. Game two was a little bit more. It was close in the score. It was only a 2-run game, but I felt like the Guardians had that one all the way too. Uh, I'll name CJ Kafis again here. He hit his first major league home run yesterday in that ball game, made the score 3-1. And from there, it was just kind of smooth sailing and, really nice pitching performance uh, across the board. Joey Cantillo started that game, pitched into the sixth. And then again, the bullpen has been phenomenal of late. And this is a good example where they didn't necessarily use all those type flight guys, but Nick Enright, Hunter Gaddis, Eric Sabrowski, and Kate Smith all combined for 3 1/3 scoreless together, where they used Enright within that and successfully did so. And then that just brings us to today. Like I said, at last check, it was 6-4. My internet's been off, so I haven't gotten to physically see that game. But
I
White
just
Sox
looked. That
got
was the
out.
final score, six to
Yeah, the
four.
White Sox got out early 5-0. Was not a good start for Slade Ciccone. First clunker in a while for him. And the guards have done well to kind of try to fight back. But at last check, like I said, I think it looked like it was going to sputter out and just not be quite enough. Kyle Manzardo did have 2 home runs today. He's been hitting the ball a lot better, using more of the field. A lot of the guys one last thing I'll kind of contribute is in this series, taking 2 or 3 from the White Sox, and even going back to the Mets series, it hasn't necessarily been Kwan and Ramirez doing a lot of the damage. It's been Manzardo and Rocchio and Bo Naylor. And it's been kind of those second tier guys who have made some adjustments. One kind of extended storyline to maybe keep an eye on as the season progresses and we go into next year is mid just a few weeks ago, the Guardians promoted one of their hitting coaches that was at AAA, who's very well thought of, Junior Betances. And there's some thought that him being with the major league club is already starting to show some dividends. So to be seen, but I just think that that could be a potential story um, as things progress.
New coach bump.
Yeah, potentially. And like I said, he's well thought of, credited for helping a lot of guys in the minors. And it seems like maybe they need him to be up with the major league team, being hands on. But could just be that bump that you're talking about too, that kind of occurs, fresh voice. We'll see.
One piece of White Sox news is that they have officially surpassed their win total from last season.
Hey, good
It's
for
only
them.
August 10th, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got there a lot faster than I think a lot of people thought they were going to.
Yeah, they could end up with like a 15-game improvement this year.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard to go down from what they had last year, but I mean give them a tiny bit of credit for being not as bad as we thought they were going to be, right?
They've got some
I mean,
players.
yeah, they
They've got
got some
some guys.
players.
I like Mydroff. I like Vargas. I think Caro could be a good player for them.
I think Colston
Uh,
Montgomery is going to be good. Mydroth is going to be,
yeah,
yeah. They got some good players. We just have
they
to
got to
see
figure
if,
out the pitching a little bit. I think Shane Smith has kind of lost his luster as the season's going on, but there's progress there, which is nice to see. Oh, honestly,
let's hope that the organization doesn't mess it up, or maybe we do hope that.
a
See,
little bit
I'm
of both.
just yeah, see, because my aunt's a White Sox fan, and I'm used to always trying to be nice about it with her and not actively root against the White Sox when I have conversations with her. So we don't do trash talk, So I try and be nice, and then it just I like to say I've been Stockholmed into being nice to the White Sox.
All right. Well, unless you have any more thoughts on this series, Dan, I guess we can move on and talk about the Royals and the Twins series.
You're chock full of recaps. I didn't realize. Please, by all means.
Yeah, the
I
next
know.
2 weeks it's full of interdivisional
Mm-hmm.
games.
That
Yeah.
means I missed a bunch of predictions this week, and I might be losing a grip on my lead. But we'll get to that later.
All right. So Royals Twins. This series was a pretty frustrating series, especially given the results of the game that just occurred 15, 20 minutes ago. Game one was kind of a pretty immediate loss for the Royals. They were able to jump out to a lead early on in the game. And then Seth Lugo came in and he did not have his best stuff. And obviously that's going to happen because these are human beings who are out there on the field. But Lugo had a pretty forgettable start for the Royals on Friday night, and I think that really exposes a big weakness that the Royals have on their team, which is if their starter has a game where they don't have it and they give up runs early, it's pretty much over. And in this game, that was the case where their Royals jumped out to had a leadoff home run from Mike Yastrzemski, who was put in the leadoff spot for the first time a couple days ago and has been doing okay in that spot. But they weren't able to get the production from the pitching that was needed. And I know, granted, you're not going to win a lot of games when you give up 9 runs on 14 hits and a 305 expected batting average. But that was a forgettable game and one that the Royals pretty much just were out of immediately. Then last night, they had the exact type of game that they almost, need to have in order to win. They gave up, they won 2-0. And that's been the story with a lot of the Royals wins this season is good pitching, a nice timely hit every now and then, and they were able to add an insurance run in the top of the ninth inning and close things out. Pretty uneventful game, pretty uneventful 2-0 win. They were able to get things moving in the right direction there. And then today they have a game where they're right there with the Twins pretty much the entire game on a day where they had all kinds of opportunities to score with runners in scoring position and failed to. They get to the 11th inning and they give up a walk-off 2-run home run to Keishel. So it's a tough series, and especially if you're trying to go on a run and make the playoffs, you can't lose 2 out of 3 to the Twins. And you can't miss opportunities to win a game when you have the bases loaded in the top of the ninth inning and you can't get it done. So it's a tough series, and I think it's something that while they're kind of in this mode where they're trying to win games, but also they have a really tough, road ahead of them if they want to make the playoffs. They're kind of just, as I said earlier in the podcast, they're kind of treading water right now. And I think the longer they go of kind of just being in the middle of things without winning a lot of games, um, it's going to be tough to make the playoffs with that setup. So tough series, frustrating series, but they have some not great teams coming up in the next week. So hopefully they can string together some wins.
Sam, I would ask, we talked about the trade deadline and we talked about how it felt like, the Royals took some things that were holes on the team and tried to turn them into average, respectable. Guys like
Mm-hmm.
Yastrzemski being added to the outfield. And it's only been a week, so forgive me, but is there any discernible, noticeable difference in kind of the offense? I think is most, what we're really talking about here when you talk about a game like Lugo had, or even the 2-0 win is the offense isn't leaving much margin of error for the pitching staff. Have you noticed anything that the offense is trending in a more positive direction, or not really?
I think it's. I think that's a great question. I think really the difference is it feels like more competitive offense. It seems like offense that is maybe not producing results, but is closer to producing results. And obviously, this is a zero-sum game. You either win or you lose. You either score a run or you don't score a run. But it feels like they're a little bit closer to breaking through. And the other problem is, look, they've acquired these players like Yastrzemski and like Grichuk. John Rave continues to get plate appearances, continues to get starts in the outfield. And he's been not horrendous this year. But look, he's another guy. He's a 27-year-old rookie. He's got a 621 OPS in 52 games this year with the Royals. Today, bottom of the ninth inning, line drive gets hit to him. He dives. It bounces 6 inches in front of his glove, rolls to the wall. It's a triple. And then 2 batters later, the Twins get a single and tie the game 3-3.
Yep.
And send it into extra innings. A more seasoned outfielder would not go diving for that ball, most likely. Let it drop.
You got to keep that in front. Yeah.
Let it drop in front of him for a single. So I'm hoping that incident is what will convince Q to play Grichuk and Yastrzemski at the same time. And look, Grichuk is righty and Yastrzemski is a lefty. Who cares at this point? Who cares about righty lefty when you're 58 and 60 and you need a spark?
Well, let me jump in on that real quick because we've had that debate here in Cleveland as well this year about platooning. And a lot of the fan base is frustrated with Vogt platooning as much as he has. And I think what it really comes down to is don't put, I'm usually for it, but don't do it for the sake of doing it. I'll give you when Will Wilson was getting at bats this year against lefties, just because for the sake that he was a right-handed hitter, his OPS plus was probably 75, no matter who he was facing. It was just an excuse to get him in the lineup, basically. That's not a good use of platooning. So I think that's kind of what you're speaking to. When you're taking 2 of your better hitters in Yastrzemski and Grichuk and platooning them against each other while Rave still plays, that's not the exercise we're trying to perform here, right? Like, I understand the frustration.
Yeah, and it's like you said, when you have someone who you gave up capital for to bring in, and you're playing someone who's face it, a quad A player.
Yeah.
And I'm not acting like Grichuk or Yastrzemski are first ballot Hall of Famers, but you gave up something for them, and you should be putting them on the field.
You guys made those transactions for a reason. Was the reason so that they could play only when the other one isn't playing?
Yeah.
I kind of doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big thing in Detroit too, because especially the first 2.5 years that AJ Hinch was here, I've talked a lot about how he loves his lefty righty matchups. In 21 the team sucked, in 22 the team sucked, in 23 the team stunk. And we were AJ Hinch. He has not changed his strategy. He does the lefty righty matchup. He does platooning. He has not changed that over the last 4 years. Whatever. Right now we're still people still complain. Oh, like 2 days ago, why are we pinch hitting Matt Vierling and he sucked since he came back, and then he hits a 3-run home run.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the criticism around platooning is results based. When your team isn't winning, it's a very easy thing to go, why are we platooning? The team sucks. Or if it's not working out, why did we play this player instead of X player? If we had hypothetically played X player, we would have won. I think it's a very easy thing for an average fan to go and point to and complain about. It's what my opinion is. I don't necessarily have the knowledge to be like, oh, platooning is good or platooning is bad or that kind of thing. I think it's a very easy thing to complain about from a fan's perspective.
I think
Yeah, and
you're
I get that, and I
entirely
understand that I'm not, there's a reason I'm not in the clubhouse making the lineups, but it feels very I don't know, it feels very old school, and it feels very like something we don't need to be doing.
I don't know about you guys, but I would I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay with bad results as long as the process that got you there was sound. Like obviously
Mhm.
I'd rather that things work themselves out and you win. But if Stephen Vogt decides to platoon two guys and it just happens that they're actually, the metrics suggest that this guy hits well against lefties and this guy hits well against righties, then yeah, even if that day leads to 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts or whatever, it wasn't just it wasn't the Will Wilson example where that guy just doesn't hit against anybody. Why are we doing this? That to me is the differentiator, but a lot of fans don't think that way. So
Yeah,
they
I mean,
pick out the result and then talk about how stupid it was.
yeah, I guess my opinion on platooning has changed because we're still doing it and we're winning now. I mean, in hindsight, looking at how Hinch was doing things in 21, 22, I don't have a problem with it. At the time, I was like, why are we doing this? But he hasn't changed his strategy. We just play better. We have better players. So the results are different. He's not doing anything different. He just has better pieces to work with. So I think that's where a lot of my opinion comes from in terms of it's just results based. His
Yeah,
strategy
and
hasn't changed. The results
I'll
have.
go back to what I said. It's a zero-sum game.
Yeah,
I will say, looking at game two here, that looks like it was a very frustrating game for Twins fans. 8 hits with no runs. I mean,
and a better expected batting.
Yeah,
yeah, that's rough. I've been there, done that. Ouch! It's annoying.
yeah. Cameron pitched pretty well, getting out of trouble in that game. So,
Was there a
but
lot
yeah,
of base runners in terms of like walks and hits, but then just like get lots of double plays type thing?
yeah, there was some of that, and I'll be honest, a lot of the viewing. I was hanging out with my family last night. A lot of the viewing was taken up by the Chiefs preseason game. Uh,
And
in the second half of this game, I had it open on my phone, but yeah, there was another, which again, I don't know why we are so interested in watching the entirety of a preseason game, but
Yeah, I
whatever.
don't know why the 97.1 is broadcasting the Lions preseason game while there's an active Tigers game going on, but whatever.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
yeah, the world has
cool.
started
Well,
moving on to football.
I hate
yeah,
it.
I think that's about all I have to say about this series with the Royals. Um, really, I think my kind of how I feel about the Royals, I think, is really going to be, um, or how I feel about the future of this season is really going to be decided in the next two series for the Royals because they have a series against the Nationals and a series against the White Sox. And they need to win those games, win those series in convincing fashion. And when you're trying to compete, you got to win those games because once they get through those 6 games, they have 4 games against the Rangers, who the Rangers are a team that they're chasing, and then a series against the Tigers. So they got to win these games. They got to win while they have, you know, favorable matchups in front of them. So uh, a lot is going to be determined in the next week for the Royals.
Yep. All right, want to go over schedules and then we can do predictions.
Yep, sounds good.
Let me make sure I get. I didn't have this tab. I'm not prepared for this at all. I haven't. Okay, I got the predictions tab there, so I got that ready later. All right, let's schedules. All right, Tigers play. Finished up the game against the Angels. Then we play at the White Sox, and then the Twins again. We got series against the Astros, which is going to be scary, and then a series against the Royals after that. Guardians finish up with the White Sox, then have the Marlins, the Braves, Diamondbacks, and the Rangers there. Royals have the Nationals, the White Sox, Rangers, and that's the Rangers in here. Rangers, and then the Tigers after that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Twins have the Yankees, Tigers, A's, and the White Sox after that. That's going to be a fun stretch for them, it looks like. Well, depending on how that Tiger series goes, but I don't know. White Sox, we got the Tigers, then the Royals, then the Braves, and then the Twins after that. Lots of interdivisional games this month. Seems to
Mm-hmm.
be
Yeah.
a theme here. All right, and now I need to switch my screen. Which one? All
Gotta
right.
gotta figure that MLB decided to backload all the division games
Yeah,
Yeah.
to a point.
there is a
you know.
lot of AL Central this last 2 months.
Yeah, because Tigers and Guardians didn't even play each other until the end of May. It took 2 months for
Yeah.
that series. All right, so we got these here. I don't know why I did. Yeah, I forgot to add these. Yep, let's go this. Yep. So right now, Dan, you're tied with Sam now. And me and Eric are tied right behind. It's a very tight race here. Oh, I should update this now.
You need to give Eric 1 for the Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know. Eric set it up so then it automatically does it with the this. Very, very nice.
Eric knows how to use Microsoft Excel very proficiently.
Yeah, I've got some Excel, but not. It's just I find it a pain.
You don't excel at it?
Ayo. It's just annoying to deal with for me. All right, so Tigers at White Sox. I'm gonna go with Tigers here. Hopefully, don't disappoint me. Or we have a theme here. We're going with city names. All right, there we go. Sam, what do you got?
I think Detroit's going to get right with a series against the White Sox, and they're going to take care of business.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, I can't see a way around Detroit winning that series against Chicago.
All right, let's hope. 'Cause we all picked Detroit for this Twins series, but it looks like Minnesota is good against the division, apparently, except for when they play Cleveland. All right, and then Tigers at Twins. So this is the 4-game series, so it could be a split. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go split for this one. Honestly, I don't wanna put too much hope in that. I guess we always play the Twins hard is the problem. And I don't think our pitching is gonna stand up. Sam.
I think the Twins are going to have some regression by this time. I think that they're not going to keep up the sort of scrappiness that we've seen from them. So I think the Tigers are going to win 3 out of 4 here.
All right, Dan.
I think I disagree. I think, I'm not going to give the Twins a series win. I think that's a little much, but I think they find a way to make a split out of this.
All right, and then we got the White Sox at the Royals. I don't know on this one. I'm gonna think of this one. Sam, what do you
got? For the purposes of hoping that the Royals will maintain a competitive spirit this season, I can't not pick the Royals, so I'll go with Kansas City in this series.
All right, what do you got, Dan?
Give me the White Sox.
Yeah, one of these days I'm going to pick Chicago, and I'm going to be right. So I'm just going to keep Chicago.
No offense, Sam, but I think Chicago has offense at this point, and I think the lack of pitching is something the Royals will not be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, Chicago's not as much of a walkover as they were last season, so
yeah,
it won't shock me if that's the way it happens, but I hope
they have a potential to be a bad matchup for the Royals, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah. See, I did pick Chicago before, and I was right there. So, anyway.
All right. Do we have any other thoughts before we wrap things up?
No, I think I've said my piece.
Appreciate everybody being patient with me. Hopefully Eric is able to join us soon. I'm assuming we kind of acknowledged his absence earlier, but that's all I got.
Yes. So, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in again this week. Hopefully, we'll be able to hear back from our fearless leader next time. So, until then, I hope everyone has a good week and your team wins games.
All right.
See ya.